Have you ever thought of combining the exciting world of luchador wrestling with the spine-chilling horror mythology in a fighting game? No? Well, have you ever wanted a 50s movie aesthetic in a fighting game? No to that either? I didn't know I wanted either of those things in a fighting game until I played Mostroscopy. Mostroscopy? Mostroscopy? I don't think I should say that anymore in this. I probably will. For disclosure, I received this code from the publisher Seashell Studio and the developer Oribe Ware Games via keymailer.co. However, all the opinions for this game are my own. With that said, let's get into it. Mostroscopy. I think that's how you say it. Mostroscopy? Mostroscopy is an indie fighting game developed by Oribe Ware Games and published by Seashell Studio, at least on the Xbox Series X and S, the one I'm talking about here. And the first thing you notice with this game is the aesthetic. Like I mentioned before, Mostroscopy carries the appearance of an old luchador and horror films of the 50s. It even says it in the description of the game. But some of those descriptions are usually lying about what their game is about. I think lying is a strong word to use. Stretching the truth is a much better way of saying it, but Mostroscopy really does hold true to what the description provides. This goes for everything in the game, from the main menu to the characters to the stages. Every aspect of the game definitely has this old movie vibe to it. For instance, the main menu has a filter over it that gives it this black lines that retro films have. I don't know what it's called, but I do know it is due to the degradation of the film rolls after constantly playing them on film projectors in theaters. This doesn't happen anymore, as far as I know, but filmmakers and the developer of this game use it as a filter to reflect the time that they are portraying. This carries over to the stages as well. Stages in Mostroscopy are interesting not only because of the locations that you see in classic horror movies or luchador settings, like an arena or an eerie castle. It's the fact that there is an alternate color palette for each one. Almost every stage has a Technicolor version and a black and white version. The Technicolor version has, well, color, and the black and white version is black and white. With the old film filter coupled with this aspect of the game, it definitely gives the appearance of an old movie. However, this is kind of my first gripe with the game. When picking the black and white stages, the characters sort of blend into the background. This makes it hard for me personally to see what's going on at certain points. So unless I was forced to play these stages in the story mode, I usually just went with the color versions of the stages. Speaking of modes, Mostroscopy has a few modes that are presented to you at the main menu. Versus mode, challenge mode, training mode, and story mode. Story mode is a basic arcade in which every character has their own story and ending. Versus is your standard player versus player, player versus computer, or computer versus computer. Training mode is there, but it doesn't offer a breadth of options that you see in other fighting games, like being able to adjust the amount of meter you have. But I'm okay with that to some extent because this is an indie game. However, more training mode options is something that the developer should look into in a future update or even a sequel. Challenge mode is a tutorial that teaches you the mechanics of the game and combo trials for each character. The mechanics of this game are something that are meant to be simple, and that they are. There's a taunt button and a guard button. The latter eliminates cross-up mix-ups from what I could tell. You also have one attack button in which repeatedly pushing it gives you an auto combo of the sorts. Pressing a direction plus the attack button gives you a different attack. For example, pressing 1 down back for those who don't use numpad notation, and the attack button will give you a launcher in which afterwards you are able to do an air combo. This also can be done with the special button. Each character gets access to up to 4 special moves, with each one tied to a directional input. Holding down the special button will give you 2 levels of a move. Holding it down until the character flashes will give that character an enhanced version of the move. Holding it down even longer will give you a cinematic version of the special move in which greater properties and better combo potential in some cases will be added to the move. All of this doesn't cost any meter, but I didn't like the charge moves at first because of the amount of time it takes to charge them. However, after figuring out what the meter at the bottom does, my discomfort with this mechanic was alleviated. The bar at the bottom is tied to an awakening mechanism called Monstro Mode. When Monstro Mode is active, those charged special moves come out as fast as the non-charged ones. It makes the character feel more fleshed out as a result, but also the game in general. Also, the special bar isn't just for offense. It can also be used for defending. While guarding, you can double tap the left or right direction to perform a guard escape for one of the 4 bars. You can also initiate a guard attack that consumes 2 bars. This adds a little more depth to a game. To be honest, I thought was going to be kind of a shallow experience due to its simple control scheme. This kind of rings true for most of my time with the game until I started messing around with the combos. Mostroscopy itself isn't a complex game, so I thought the combos wouldn't be as complex either. And that's true for the most part, but I still found fun doing combos in this game. You could find loops and other things with a high ground bounce that make them fun to do despite the easy access barrier. Even character movement plays a role in some of the combos. Like one character who's a samurai detective, when he dashes he does a short hop like a King of Fighter characters and is able to do a pseudo instant overhead. Another example would be the Count or the vampire character. In addition to the ground movement that he also has an air dash available to him, allowing for unique aerial combos. This uniqueness is definitely carried over from the fact that each character is strikingly different from each other aesthetically. With 16 characters, the roster is made up of vampires, werewolves, masked wrestlers, and more creatures of the night. I was surprised to see that an indie game launched with this many characters. Some AAA games have launched with less in the past, with almost triple the price tag, so it is nice to see Mostroscopy have a decent sized roster. Mostroscopy. There are some good and some bad things about this Monster Mash throwdown. There are certain things missing, such as an online mode, at least on the Xbox version. I saw on the Steam version that they might be getting an online mode with a beta that's currently running or that was running in the past. There's also small nitpicky things like not being able to press the B button to exit out of an option in the settings or something, but that's mostly due to muscle memory and not necessarily a big issue in the game. But you're here to see if I recommend the game or not. At least I hope you are.
Okay, you're a sad, pathetic wretch of a man, so desperate to be loved.
And honestly, it depends. The game has simple controls where everyone can easily get into the game. Characters have unique movement and designs that all blend together well in this one game, along with the overall 50 aesthetic. The stages help this even further, but be cautious as of now. The game definitely needs some polish in some areas, whereas in others it is strong. Right now, this is mostly for those who want to play offline with friends, at least on the Xbox version. And if you want a sequel with more polish, I suggest you pick the game up for $12.49 on Xbox or $20 on Steam to let the developers know that you want more.